Are you struggling to get pressure or balance shifting from foot to foot during the swing, or even find the timing of it difficult to adjust? Let's have a look and see a couple of drills that we can do to improve that movement. Hi, I'm Peter Knight, and I've created this channel, Peter Knight Golf, to help you play the best golf you possibly can. In today's video, it's to help you move correctly. So let's have a look at what we can do today to help make that movement better. If we think of most striking movements, even throwing, there's an order of movement: lower body, upper body, pressure shifting on the ground. And if we look at some of those movements, say if I'm throwing a ball, I'm a left-hander, but if I'm practicing throwing it right for your benefit, when I bring my arm back, my pressure might go back, my arm goes back, and then from there I'm going to move forward. Now my arm might still be going back as I start to move forward. So I've got pressure going forward, then I throw. If I'm playing a golf shot, I want to do exactly the same thing. So from the top of my swing, I want pressure to go forward to my front foot and then the club to swing through. So for those of you who feel like you get stuck on the back foot, then this is probably the video for you, because it's going to help you to understand how the pressure needs to move. So the way we're going to look at it is if we take the movement into parts. So how does the pressure shift? How does the body turn? So the first thing that I want to do is have the pressure shift before the swing moves in that direction. So when I start my backswing, I'm starting to get a little bit of pressure shifting to the right, and then the club will swing back to the top of the swing. Then my pressure is going to shift back to the left and the club swings down and through. Now, if we look at that in a little bit more detail, when I set myself up, let's say I've got my balance even on both feet to start with. As I start my backswing, pressure's moving fairly quickly to my right foot. Now, let's say I get, say, 70% of pressure on my right foot as the most I get on my right foot. It might be a bit more with the driver, a little bit less if I'm hitting a short shot, like a pitch shot, but at some point I'm going to have whatever is going to be the maximum pressure on my back foot here. So when I get to my hands being at about chest height, that's the point that I want that maximum pressure to be on the right foot. So let's say it's 70%. As I continue back from that point here, the pressure is already beginning to move back to the left, so that by the time I get down to here, I've probably got about 70% of pressure on my left foot. Now, if this movement is different for you or different to what you've been doing, then you probably need to initially do it slowly until you find you build up the rhythm for it. So a couple of ways you can do that. One is to, if you give yourself, your swing, a little head start, and then from there, I'm definitely going to shift pressure onto my right foot and then let the club swing back. So we can break these movements down into parts before we then put it together into a flowing movement. So again, my swing starts forward. I'm going to allow pressure. I've actually got a little bit more pressure on my left foot here. And then from there, I'm going to shift it to my back foot, my right foot, and then let the club swing back. So again, I feel like that movement of pressure combined with the body's turn is almost swinging or flinging the club back to the top of the swing. So once I've got the sensation of being able to do that, from here, just backswing movement, then I can start to get the sense of what the downswing movement is like. The transition bit we'll leave till last, because that tends to be the most difficult part for most people. So if I go to the top of the swing, now I'm actually going to let my body start to move forward toward the target. So now I've got more pressure on my left foot, pressure on the left, then let the club swing. So again, back from the top of the backswing, I've got more pressure on my right here, pressure on my left, let the club swing down and through. So now we've got to start to put this together. So I'm going to feel the order of movement is that I'm going to go pressure on my right foot, club swings back, pressure on my left foot, club swings through. So initially just doing that, don't focus too much on what's actually happening through transition initially. So pressure on the back foot, club swings back, pressure on the front foot, club swings through. And you can see from the demonstration there that I've got a clear lead with the pressure movement before the club swings. Here's the tricky bit for most players. As I get to the end of the backswing, I want the pressure to begin to move forward even before the club finally settles at the end of the backswing. And when I say finally settles, we're talking about a motion that feels like it never really comes to a complete stop. It feels like the swing is a continuous motion. So as I go back, pressure's on my right, pressure starts to move to the left and then continues as I swing down and through. So let's have a look and see how that looks in a golf swing. So I'm going to start from my address position rather than forward here. You could start from forward here to actually create that momentum. Just watch as you go back that you don't hit the ball as you go back and it'll fly the other way. Alternatively, you could start the swing forward, swing it back slightly inside the ball, which I think is actually more difficult to do, and then hit the shot. But I'm going to start from address. So if we start just from a normal address position, and then if you watch back, you'll see that my movement, I hope it does, starts to move forward a little bit before the club swings down. Now that's not introducing a massive sway to my body, but it is feeling like I'm moving pressure. When I go back and through, all I'm doing is shifting pressure. If I take little steps here, just like this, I'm shifting 100% of pressure from foot to foot, and yet my body is only moving sideways a little bit. So practice that movement, just getting the feel, either breaking it up into backswing movement first, then downswing movement separately, then bring them together. And when you find you get that flow in the movement, you'll find that shifting your balance is really easy, and back foot days are a thing of the past.